Hi, boys and girls. Welcome back. You ready for today's riddle? Okay, it's a knock-knock one. Knock-knock. Who's there? Wouldn't you? Wouldn't you who? I'll tell you at the end of the story. Today's story is a good one, and since it's the end of the year, I'm reading The Book of Good Memories by Fran Nuno, illustrated by Zuzana Celej. Now, it's an interesting story why the book was written, and hopefully it tells you. If not, I'll tell you at the end of the story. Zoe had lived in the city since she was born, but now, because of the war, she had to flee with her family and take refuge in another country. What does refuge mean? It means when a place isn't safe, they have to go somewhere else. Kind of hide or start over again. The night before she left, she decided to do a little experiment. She spread out a map of the city on the table and started to mark all the places where she had spent her happiest times in the 10 years of her life. Her house, her grandma's house, the square, the school, the ice cream parlor, benches at the park, bookshop, basketball court, library, swings, kiosk, supermarket, train station, cinema, daddy's office, the funicular, the North Woods, and the old factory. Because she put the compass rose, there's a compass rose at the top which tells you direction. First, she marked the house where she lived. Here she had learned to walk and spoken her first words. Her room had always been a wonderful place, full of games and daydreams. Her home had become a place full of good memories. Then she marked the place where she was at the particular moment, her school. While she did it, she ran through the names of her teachers and her favorite classmates. She'd been at the school for so long, but Zoe was never bored. She loved learning new things every day. I did too. Doesn't look like some of the students though do, just by the way their bodies are positioned. Some look a little bored. Could be sad though, or tired. She marked the library and the bookshop, which were still in her neighborhood. They were two places she absolutely loved. The people who worked there introduced her to books that filled her with all different kinds of emotions. Their shelves were full of real treasures. I like how she's reading and it shows like her imagination, everything she's reading in her mind. The park in the middle of the city was another place of good memories. Its trees and bushes made her feel like she was in another world. It was an island of green filled with different kinds of animals. She'd spent many Sunday mornings there playing on the swings, listening to people, playing music, and riding her bike. It's a fun thing to do at the park. Zoe loved going to the movies, so she drew a circle around her favorite cinema and remembered all the films she'd enjoyed there. She also thought about the candy counter with the big seats, the lady who showed you to your seat with the flashlight, and the magic of the big screen. Look at the movie it's playing. This is probably taking place a long time ago, but The Wizard of Oz, although most of us have probably seen it. If you haven't, you should. It's a good movie and a good book. The river was also marked on her map. Her favorite place was next to the North Bridge, where sometimes she could see fish and water, and a family of ducks who loved eating crumbs of bread. My children always loved feeding ducks. It's kind of fun to do with old bread. She kept going until she had marked all the places that made her feel happy. After looking at the points scattered over the map, she started to connect them with a red pencil in the order she had discovered them throughout her life. She wanted to know what kind of shape would appear by joining all the good memories together. When she looked up, Zoe could not believe what she saw. Little suspense here. What do you think she saw? What kind of shape? So here's the map, and she's drawing a red line. Z-O-E. Zoe, her name. That's so strange. The shape of the map made the letters of her name. Zoe didn't know if this happened by accident or if it meant something. Perhaps it was the city's way of saying goodbye to her. What she did know is that wherever she went, all of the wonderful memories she had would always be with her. She tucked the map of good memories neatly into her suitcase. It was the map of the city she was sure she'd return to someday. You look here. Tells you some good things are not happening when you see a broken tree. And oh, look here. You see a tank. Maybe some broken windows. Could be around World War II. This is the author's note. This is the part that tells you. To see the modern world with the eyes of a child I once was, with the eyes of the children I meet. Philip Dillard. More than anything else, this book is about saying farewell. Zoe, the main character, says goodbye to the city where she has always lived. Because of the war, she has learned to flee with her family to another country and has no idea what will become of her. Her name, which is Greek in its origin, means life. And throughout her memories, we discover some of those good times, those simple pleasures that life sometimes gives us, and where true happiness may be found. The happiness that Zoe is unfortunately about to lose. I've always enjoyed books that talk about these simple daily pleasures, which encourage the reader to think about their own and make a list. I cannot deny that I would love the readers of the story to do the same experiment Zoe does with the map of her city, then discover the result. I would like to end with hope-filled words that Anne Frank once wrote in her diary. One day, this terrible war will be over. Frank Nuno. Now, the reason I chose this book is because our year is coming to an end. And I know right now, the end of the year, we didn't have the best memories. We couldn't be together. So, when I start to get a little sad, which I am now, I think about our good memories, all the fun times we had. Your smiling faces. Just know I miss you. I love you. Okay, sorry about that. I got a little choked up. Answer to our riddle. Knock, knock, who's there? Wouldn't you? Wouldn't you who? Wouldn't you like me to stop telling you the jokes? Yes or no? I bet it's a no. You ready for some fun science? We're gonna do a little bit of art with science. You ready? Okay, I'll see you in a little bit. Bye-bye. Okay, boys and girls, welcome back. We're gonna do a little painting today, salt painting. So you're either gonna need some paper, they suggest cardstock. I'm using construction paper, but I'm also using some cardboard, and I'll show you the difference at the end. The harder, the heavier the paper, the better it is. I have a lot of, unfortunately, Amazon boxes. So I'm gonna turn the camera down and we're gonna do our fun activity. You'll need some glue, just regular glue, watercolors. Now it suggests liquid watercolors. I don't have those, so I just use these and it worked fine. Salt, a paintbrush, and water. Okay, ready? It's kind of fun to watch. Okay, the first thing you do with your paper, I'm gonna take the paper out of under this, and you draw what you want with the glue. So I am going to draw a rainbow. So I have, now you won't really be able to see the rainbow and the white, but you'll see why we need it. 1, 2, 3. I always think rainbows are pretty, part of nature. 4, 5. Okay, so there's my rainbow, you can see it. Then you take your salt and you sprinkle it over the glue. Now you really want to cover it, so you use a lot of salt. Luckily, salt's not that expensive. So I'm covering it up. Pause it. Well, okay, I've taken the excess salt, so this is all covered with salt. The glue is covered with salt. Now I'm going to take my paints and my paintbrush and water, and I'm going to really make my paint. I'm going to start with red first. That's usually the first color in the rainbow because of the wavelength. So it's kind of fun. Now watch what happens when I do it. See how it spreads throughout it? It's really pretty. You have to tell, if you don't have the salt there, it won't spread. You can't just do it on top of glue. It goes pretty fast. Now I'm gonna stop here. I'm gonna go to orange just for the sake of time. I'll show you the end in just a minute. But look, whoo. And I'm gonna go to yellow. Got a little orange in the yellow, that's okay. And then green. That way yellow out, clean my paintbrush. And if you go over, it's okay, it just touches the paper. And then blue will be my last color. Okay, I'm gonna pause it and finish coloring my rainbow. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm all done with my rainbow. Doesn't that look pretty? I had to change the water out once. Now, you're gonna have to put this outside and dry because it's very wet. And then I'm gonna show you what I did with cardboard. I'll show you right now. Let me put this back here. And get the cardboard. With the cardboard, I decided to do hearts instead. Now, we just read the story about the map. Maybe you could make a map using this. Okay, heart. I'm gonna kind of do a heart and a heart and a heart. And then I'll go one on the outside. And one more. Sprinkle the salt on it again. Now you have to have every bit of glue covered by salt or the paint doesn't stick to it. The paint is absorbing the water. It's kind of causing a mini chemical reaction. What I do is I have the salt over here from my last time, and then I just pour the salt off. And I'm gonna paint it and I'll be right back. I'm almost done painting my heart. I'm mixing red and purple together for the last color. It's really interesting to see how the salt absorbs color. Even here, look, because the glue was touching it, it went from red and red here. I think it makes it look pretty. Almost done. We're gonna put it to the side and dry. See, now right here, didn't get much salt. Okay, I'm gonna be back with the samples I painted last night. Okay, this is the sample I did last night. Now this is a rainbow. This is why it does not work as well on paper. Look, okay, I'm gonna show you. And I'm gonna look, a lot of it falls off. It's actually really pretty on the breadboard. So, doesn't work, that's why it suggests cardstock or cardboard. I did this one on cardboard last night and look, much stronger. Doesn't fall apart as much. I think the water gets absorbed into the back of the cardboard, so this one didn't have as much place to go, but it's still pretty. So, let's see. This is today's. This was last night, similar. And then, this one's today's. See, it's already starting to fall. And put it down again. Here, and this one's last night, so it does fade a little, but I think it's a fun activity. You could paint whatever you want. I'd love to see what you paint. Love you, I miss you. I'll see you again for more science. Bye, boys and girls.